Um, to continue to share in our moment, I wanted to take a moment to introduce a good friend of mine and a colleague, Jasmine Boardman. Jasmine
Hi.
Trau, sorry, there's a combination there. Now, I'm going to take a moment to introduce Jasmine because she's got quite a lot of accomplishments, and I want to make sure that I have sort of wrapped them all up before we're really lucky we get to hear some of Jasmine's like inner thoughts today. But Jasmine grew up in the Bay Area, and her passion about suicide and suicide prevention started at a young age. She is experienced in crisis intervention, so helping somebody divert off a path towards suicide, and has worked with veterans and is currently working with our youth, which is no surprise to anybody who's logged in today. Our youth needs so much care and attention to understand that there is something that is available to them, that there is more than sad, and that there is a path forward. She is currently working in San Francisco as a mental health clinician and is working with foster youth, again, and a population of youth that sees an increased risk of suicide. I'm also very proud to say that she is a board member with the Greater Bay Area chapter of American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And it is with great pleasure that I get to introduce Jasmine to this community. So welcome today.
Thank you, Andy. It is a pleasure to be here. I actually feel very honored to be at this virtual event. Just want to say I've really always deeply moved by everyone who participates in these events. And even though this year, unfortunately due to COVID, we are coming together virtually, and even though I cannot see all of your faces, I want you to know that you are not alone and we are here together. And if you're watching a recording of this event, the same is true for you. You are not alone and we are here together. The first time I experienced someone's suicide was almost 25 years ago. I was 14 years old. When I was in my 8th grade year of middle school, there was a Benicia high school student that died by suicide. Soon after that, my friend Cindy, who was also in my 8th grade class at Benicia Middle School, died by suicide. 3 months after Cindy, my cousin Karen, who had been living with us and was also in our 8th grade class, also died by suicide. The weight of these events was suffocating to me, and the experience of losing someone to suicide felt isolating. Due to the stigma around suicide, many people didn't know what to say to me, and a lot of people started to just avoid me altogether. And at the same time that I was experiencing this, I was also witnessing other people who hadn't even met Cindy or Karen really grieve for losing people to suicide. And so I really started to think about what I wanted to do in terms of suicide prevention. And it was at this time that I made a commitment to start conversations about suicide, because I figured if other people were uncomfortable talking about it, then I would just talk about it. Because it was affecting everyone. And I started looking for opportunities to talk about suicide and to talk about mental health. I found that more often than not, when I brought up my own challenges with mental health and my own experience with suicidality, the person I was talking to would start sharing a similar experience and would be relieved that they had a safe place to talk about it. It is an incredibly powerful experience to look someone in the eyes and say, "You are not alone. We are here together." Fast forward to 2011, countless conversations later, I found out about AFSP and their community walk in Oakland. And it was a walk for people like me and for people like us. I registered for and participated in my first AFSP event. I immediately knew that I wanted to be a part of this organization. And as sad as it was to see so many people who had been affected by suicide, It was also a safe place for me to feel vulnerable and without feeling the need to explain anything. The community walk was also a place of hope, a place full of people supporting each other, and an organization providing us with the tools to shine light into the darkness. Unfortunately, in the years after the deaths of Cindy and Karen, more of my loved ones have died by suicide. The most recent being the death of my friend's brother, Nick. And he passed away only a few months ago. So many people are experiencing the suicides of loved ones. 117 people die by suicide every day. But there is hope. AFSP offers 21 programs that promote suicide awareness, education, and prevention, and it has chapters in all 50 states. Last year, AFSP hosted 600 Out of the Darkness walks that were attended by 400,000 people. This number only includes those of us that participated in the walks last year. There are so many more of us. Can you imagine what 500,000 of us could do? If 500,000 of us participated in trainings such as Talk Saves Lives, then went on to start conversations that shine light into the darkness, 500,000 of us looking someone in the eyes and saying, "You are not alone. We are here together," saving countless lives. We need to start the conversation on suicide before the emergency room. We need to start the conversation before something happens. Asking someone directly if they are thinking of suicide will not make them suicidal. It can help them. It could save their life. Even though this year we are coming together virtually, and even though I can't see all of your faces, I feel the power that all of us have here together to really make a difference and to end suicide. We are all here because we are passionate about suicide prevention and intervention. And like Andy had mentioned, the path that we have taken to get here is often a painful one. But in the memory of people that we have lost, we are creating change and we are saving lives. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for being here and for listening to me from the bottom of my heart. You are not alone. We are here together. Thank you.
Well, I'm so deeply thankful to you, Jasmine, for sharing some of the vulnerability, sharing your vulnerability with us, with me, with this community of people that have been brought together, and your ability to show us that taking that vulnerability and having the conversation, even though it is hard, is one of the most powerful tools of change that we have available to us. And unless we embrace that vulnerability, we can't turn it into a tool. So I wanted to just take a moment to say thank you for sharing not only your powerful words of encouragement and empowerment, but also by stepping into this space and creating a safe space with every person who's logged in today and every person who will watch in the future. And we know we're going to continue to see people's participation and creating that safe space by sharing part of your path forward, because it reminds us that we all do have the ability and the responsibility to step forward together. So thank you. That was powerful and beautiful.